Low skies over the station, silver light on every sign. People drift like quiet answers to questions I left behind. Nothing in the air feels broken, nothing in it asks too much. Just the kind of day that teaches how small mercies can be enough. Steam escapes the bakery window, buses sighing at the lane. Every coat is slightly darker, under hints of coming rain. And the city, though still heavy, wears a warmth beneath the blue, like a heart that keeps on glowing, even when the sun is through. Not every day has to shine to leave a little kindness resting in the mind. Low skies, warm heart, that's the way the morning goes. Cool above the city rooftops, warm in places no one knows. Low skies, warm heart, I can walk this weather through, carrying a little brightness that I must have learned from you. At the corner near the flower stand, petals gather by the drain. Someone waits beneath an awning, watching over coat and train. Sometimes peace is not a sunrise, sometimes peace is just a start, with the clouds still hanging low there, and some warmth beneath the dark. I have known the days of thunder, I have known the bright extremes, but the ones I keep returning to move in softer kinds of beams, where the road is wet and shining, where the trees are almost green, where the heart can rest unnoticed, in the middle of between. You can hear in the passing cars how the city keeps a softness under all its scars. Low skies, warm heart on the avenue and train, in the way my thoughts grow softer, in the hush before the rain. Low skies, warm heart, I don't need to name it now. It is here inside the weather, and it's enough to show me how. Not every kind of comfort comes in gold or summer blue. Sometimes it arrives in quiet and lets the day come back to you. Sometimes all a soul is asking is a place to breathe and start, underneath the silver skyline, with a low sky, warm heart. noticed through the day how the clouds above the city made the hidden warmth stay. Velvet afternoon, spilling over tabletops, leaving gold on empty glasses and the corner record shop. Nothing in a hurry, nothing trying hard to glow, just a kind of tired sweetness in the streets below. Someone turns a page beside me, someone laughs and then it fades. Clouds drift over silver rooftops, softening the city's shape. There's a calm I didn't notice till the daylight started thinning, and the room began to hold me like the hour was forgiving. No need to rush, no need to prove. Some days arrive just to loosen you. Velvet afternoon, lay your quiet over me, like the warmth across the window, like the hush between the trees. Velvet afternoon, stay until the shadows move. I don't need a grander feeling than the one I found in you. I have known the louder hours, all the bright and restless air, but there's something in this softness that feels wiser staying there. Not a thrill that burns too quickly, not a light that leaves too soon, just the city breathing slower underneath the muted noon. Every object in the room now seems to carry its own grace, cup and notebook, coat and doorway, each made tender in its place. And I think the heart grows clearer when the world stops asking why, when the sky is neither golden nor completely closing. Why? In the pause of the fading day, I can feel my thoughts unfold and drift away. Velvet afternoon on the pavement, in my hands, in the way the city loosens into slower, smaller plans. Velvet afternoon, you don't ask for anything, still you make the whole day gentler, still you make the silence sing. Some days don't arrive in brightness, some days shine because they rest, and the softest parts of living sometimes fit a person best. If I leave before the evening, I will still be carrying you, like a color on the window, like a warmth the room once knew. Velvet afternoon, stay a little longer now, on the books and on the counters, on the honest and the aloud. Velvet afternoon, you have turned the whole day slow, and I think that kind of mercy There's a season just before it, when the branches still look bare, but the wind has changed its language, and there's promise in the air. Nothing opens all at once here, nothing rushes into view. Even now the earth is keeping something bright it hasn't shown. Morning trains and wet umbrellas move beneath a patient sky. Every face along the platform looks like it has learned to try. Not for glory, not for fireworks, just to make it through the day. Still I see the green beginning in the pale and quiet gray. You don't need to call it spring for the season to begin. You can feel it in the waiting, you can hear it underneath. Gray before bloom, that's the color of today. Half asleep and half becoming, in a shy and fragile way. Gray before bloom, like a heart not fully named. Still it leans into the morning, still it warms, still it changes. On the station wall, the posters peel a little in the mist, and the sidewalks wear the weather like a thought I almost missed. Maybe beauty starts in waiting, maybe love begins like this. Not in petals, not in bright things, but in all we almost risk. I have asked the world for answers in a brighter, louder tone, but the gentlest truths I've carried came when everything was low. Like the light across the railing, like the warmth behind the cold, like the signs that life is moving long before the leaves unfold. Every soft and silver morning has a secret in his hands, and the heart can learn to trust it, even when it doesn't understand. Gray before bloom, still the whole world seems to lean toward the light behind the buildings, toward the softest shade of green. Gray before bloom, I can feel it drawing near, like a song beneath the silence, like a spring inside the year. You don't need a perfect season, you don't need a sky of blue. There is sweetness in the almost, in the not yet coming through. And the things that grow the deepest often start where no one sees, under cloud and under stillness, under cold and quiet streets. Gray before bloom, now the whole day feels alive, in the air above the station, in the branches learning light. Gray before bloom, I will love this tender phase, where the world is still deciding how to open, how to change. Gray before bloom, there is beauty in the way, and I think I know the season, even before it says its name.
Before April knows its color, before the branches all give in, there is still this fragile season, caught between the cold and green. can hear it in the mornings when the trains begin to move, and the sky above the rooftops looks unsure what it should do. Flower shops set out their buckets, though the day is pale and thin, and the sidewalks keep a brightness from the rain that might begin. Everything is almost ready, everything is almost there, and I feel that same beginning somewhere moving through the air. Nothing rushed, nothing grand, still the season starts unfolding in my hands. Before April knows what kind of bloom it means to be, there's a quiet in the weather that feels almost just like me. Before April knows, I am learning how to wait, how to love the pale beginning before the world calls it late. At the lights beside the river, people crossing coats in gray, holding flowers, holding groceries, holding little bits of day. And I wonder if becoming always starts in something small, like the first soft turn of branches, like the thaw beneath it all. I have asked the year for answers in a louder, brighter voice, but the truth of early springtime seems to come in smaller joys, in the silver by the railing, in the smell of earth and rain, in the way the city loosens without needing to explain. You can feel what comes next, even when the sky above still looks complex. Before April knows, I can feel the city lean toward a gentler kind of brightness, toward a kinder kind of green. Before April knows, there is beauty in this pause, and I think there may be enough now to love the world, because nothing forced is ever tender, nothing rushed is ever true. So I let the season gather and the light come through in blue. If the flowers are still waiting, I can learn to wait here too, for the slow and honest color that the month is growing to. Before April knows what kind of bloom it means to be, there's a quiet in the weather that feels almost just like me. Before April knows, I will love this tender phase where the year is still deciding how to open into days.
You came in with the weather on a pale and quiet day. Nothing loud, just softer colors leaning slowly into gray. Coffee steam and folded jackets, traffic humming far below. Something in the air kept saying, take your time and let it slow. Windows wore a silver shimmer, sidewalk trees were barely green, and the city held its breathing somewhere in the in-between. shape the season made. Then your voice became a little light inside the tender haze, in the hush of the street, in the blur of the glass. Every small passing moment feels like it could last. March softly on the window, on my sleeves, on the light between the buildings, on the quiet way you leave. March softly like a song that knows my name, not in thunder, not in sunlight, just in how the whole day changed. There were flowers in the distance, still deciding how to bloom, and a calm inside the silence settled gently in the room. You were never asking for much, just a place to be and stay, like the weather when it lingers without trying to explain. I had loved the louder seasons, all the skies that shone too hard, but this pale and patient morning found a softer kind of heart. There are days that ask for nothing, yet they leave the deepest trace, like your shadow by the doorway, like the warmth you did not waste in the air of the avenue, in the slowing of time. There's a mercy in the ordinary that I'm only learning now. March softly on the pavement, in the glass, on the little hours between us that I never thought would last. March softly, you arrive and then are gone, but the quiet that you leave me feels enough to carry on. Maybe tenderness is smaller than the stories people tell. Maybe it's a faded skyline and a feeling sitting still. Maybe spring begins in silence before the world is fully new. Maybe every gentle morning finds its way back through. March softly on the window, on my sleeves, on the light between the buildings, on the quiet way you leave. March softly like a song that knows my name, not in thunder, not in sunlight, just in how the whole day changed. March softly even when the day is done. I can keep the softer weather and the way it let me run into something bright and nameless, into something kind and true. March softly, I still hear it in the silence after you. You were always like the season, half awake and half in bloom, leaving traces in the weather, then retreating from the room. Not a summer kind of brightness, not a winter kind of vague, more like mornings in the city, when the whole sky hesitates. There were petals by the station, though the trees were still unsure. There was warmth beneath the silver, though the day stayed pale and cool. And I think of how you lingered, and the things you didn't say, like color on the window at the ending of the day. Not a dream, not fully true, just a softer kind of presence pulling through. Your season, half awake, losing every softened day. In the air before the flowers, in the clouds before they break. Your season, half awake, stays a little when you go, like the scent of rain on concrete, like a warmth I almost know. I can see you in the station, in the coat hooks, in the steam, in the pale and tender hours that feel quieter than dreams. Maybe love is not a rival, maybe it's the in-between, something still becoming visible in the spaces we don't mean. I have searched for larger gestures, for a certainty to keep, but the truest things I've carried came in tones this soft and deep. In the mornings after rainfall, in the trees before they wake, in the season that reminds me how to live half open still. Every hour wears your hue, in the silver by the river, in the pale spring blue. Your season, half awake, moves through everything I do, and the city keeps your outline in its silver afternoon. Your season, half awake, even now it lingers near, in the weather and the stillness, in the turning of the year. Not unfinished, not uncertain, just a little hard to name, like the color of first springtime before the sun decides to stay. And the heart that used to fear everything it could not prove learns to trust the softer weather and the half-awakened bloom. Your season, half awake, lives in every softened day. In the air before the flowers, in the clouds before they break. Your season, half awake, I will keep it when you're gone, like a warmth beneath the silver, like the first note of a song. There's a silver line running down the window now, and the city wears a quieter color somehow. Someone folds a coat by the chair across the room, coffee breath and softened light and flowers waiting to bloom. Umbrellas drift below the glass like a slow and borrowed dance. Street lights in the afternoon glow by accident. Everything is half awakened, everything is cool and clear, and the weather writes its softness on the shape of being here. In the hush of the street, in the blur of the glass, every small passing moment feels like it could last. Spring written in rain on the edge of keeps slipping away. You don't have to say it, I can feel what remains in the air, in the quiet, in spring written in rain. Maybe love is small, maybe love is this, a song you almost pass by, but somehow always miss. Not a sudden fire, not a summer falling through, just a gentle kind of warmth returning into view. There are petals by the crossing, there are lights along the lane, and every little object seems more honest in the rain. I remember how you sounded in a room this soft and plain, and the memory keeps on breathing in spring written in rain. And the sound of the cars in the calm after blue, every soft little shadow leaves a line back to you. Spring written in rain on the edge of the day, and the light on the pavement that keeps slipping away. You don't have to say it, I can feel what remains in the air, in the quiet, in spring written in rain. Nothing loud, nothing wild, just the weather slowing down a while, and your name like a tune half remembered in a quiet room. No bright sky, no grand goodbye, just a window and a soft night. Spring written in rain on the glass on the street, in the hush of the city, in the sound of my feet. You don't have to promise, you don't have to explain. There's love in the silence of spring written in rain. Spring written in rain, like a song left behind on the walls, on the windows, on the back of my mind. And the whole world turns tender in the cool of your name. I can hear you in everything. Spring written in rain.
Umbrellas and streetlights opening at 6:30. Silver circles in the evening, moving through the traffic mist. Storefront signs and softened colors, buzzes breathing at the curb, and the rain turns every footstep into something barely heard. There's a flower stand still open by the corner near the train, petals catching all the amber mixed with blue and little rain. People passing one another, slow enough to almost stay, and the city wears a gentleness at the ending of the day. In the glow of the wet black street, even strangers seem a little less far from me. Umbrellas and streetlights on the avenue tonight, little moving constellations in the blue and amber light. Umbrellas and streetlights make the whole world feel more near, like the city's learned to whisper everything I need to hear. There's a couple near the crossing, sharing more than just a coat, and an old man by the flower stand, watching petals float. Nothing grand is happening here, still I don't want this to end. There are evenings made for leaving, and there are some made just to stand. I
like the rain is patient and the night is never cold. There is comfort in the silver, there is mercy in the shine, and the streetlights keep on opening like a thought I almost find. When the rain learns to glow, even tired roads have somewhere soft to go. Umbrellas and streetlights shining on the blackened stone, and I walk a little lighter even when I'm all alone. Umbrellas and streetlights, if I ever lose my way, I will follow all your reflections through the blue of evening rain. When the weather dims the distance, when the signs begin to glow, even lonely streets grow tender, even strangers start to slow, and the heart that spent all day trying not to feel too much finds a softer kind of language in the silver and the hush. Umbrellas and streetlights on the avenue tonight, little moving constellations in the blue and amber light. Umbrellas and streetlights, I will keep this scene in mind, how the city turned to comfort at the edge of rain and night. Not the kind that fills a skyline, not the kind that steals a room, not the kind that burns too brightly and then leaves too soon. More like coats beside the doorway, more like tea gone warm and slow, more like staying through the weather when there's nowhere else to go. More like listening in the kitchen while the windows gather gray, more like folding up the laundry at the ending of the day. More like knowing where the silence will grow softer when it lands, more like not needing to ask when your heart already understands. No firework, no sudden sign, just a steady light that stays through time. A rainy kind of love, soft around the edges, quiet on the surface, still it never ends. A rainy kind of love doesn't ask for fireworks, just a patience and a place to rest. You were there in all the small things, in the pauses in the plane, in the window streaked with silver, in the rhythm of the rain. And I think I know the difference between shining and staying through. Some hearts love like summer lightning, mine has learned to love like you. Maybe this is what I needed, not a song that climbs too high, just a room where all the weather can arrive and pass us by. Just the trust of being ordinary, just the grace of being known, and a hand that doesn't leave me when the evening settles low. Let the world keep all its sparks. Let the louder stories pass us. Let the season speak its own. There is something in the stillness that can make a life feel known. Not a blaze that asks for witness, not a wave that pulls apart, just the weather learning gently how to enter into heart. A rainy kind of love, soft around the edges, quiet on the surface, still it never ends. A rainy kind of love, I will know it when it stays in the silver on the windows, in the tenderness of days. Petals on the crosswalk, pressed against the shining ground. Every passing car goes slowly, every sound is softened down. Umbrellas bloom in little colors on the edge of evening light, and the whole street feels like waiting for a name it cannot find. There's a couple by the station, sharing more than just a coat, past the railing carries silver where it goes. I stand still beneath the awning with the weather on my skin, watching all the small things gather, watching spring begin again. Nothing stays, but nothing leaves unchanged. Even the smallest falling color can make the whole world strange. Petals in the rain, turning circles by my feet. Small and temporary beauty, making every corner sweet. Petals in the rain, drifting where I used to be, like the day is trying softly to return a part of me. There's a kindness in the weather when it doesn't try too hard, when the city wears its sadness like a pale and open heart. I remember how you smiled once by the bookstore near the train, and the memory comes back quieter with the petals and the rain. Maybe all the things I've wanted never needed to be loud. Maybe love can live in silver underneath a folded cloud. Maybe spring is just this moment, half in bloom and half in pain, still so gentle in its leaving, still so present in the rain. Every light on the wet black street feels like something broken, turning whole beneath my feet. Petals in the rain on the jacket that I wore, on the windows of the taxis, on the half-lit grocery store. Petals in the rain, for a moment everything feels as if the world has written love in little drifting things. Nothing stays in perfect color, nothing blooms without a fall. Still the smallest things can reach us, still the light can touch it all. And the days I thought were fading find another way to stay, in the petal marks in silver that the weather leaves behind. Petals in the rain, turning circles by my feet. Small and temporary beauty, making every corner sweet. Petals in the rain, I will carry what to smoke, folding over all the rooftops like a promise never spoke. Nothing in it asks for brightness, nothing in it feels undone. Just a city wearing silver, waiting lightly for the sun. From the station to the river, all the signs turn calm and thin. Every face behind the glass looks half outside and half within. I walk slowly by the railing with my hands inside my coat, and the weather keeps on writing quiet letters that I know. Not too dark, not too bright, just enough to hold the day till night. Cloud-colored day, I can rest inside your tone. Not too dark and not too shining, just enough to feel at home. Cloud-colored day, keep you quiet over me, like a hand across the window, like a hush across the street. There's a cafe by the corner, full of chairs and little lamps, and the people there look softer in the silver of the glass. Somewhere someone turns a page, somewhere someone stirs their tea, and I feel the whole world lower to a kinder kind of speed. I have spent too much time asking for a sign to split the blue, but these calm and clouded hours always seem to carry truth. Not in answers, not in brightness, just in all they let me hear. How the heart can keep on breathing when the distance draws more near. In the blur of the avenue, there is peace in all the silver and the softened view. Cloud-colored day, stay a little while and fade. Leave your silver on the railings, leave your cool upon the lane. Cloud-colored day, even when you pass me through, I will keep the softer outline of the life I found in you. Not every sky must open, not every hour must sing. Some of them are here for breathing, some are here for listening. And the quietest kind of weather often leaves the deepest hue. On the walls, on the windows, on the moving heart of you. Cloud-colored day, I can rest inside your tone. Not too dark and not too shining, just enough to feel at home. Cloud-colored day, keep you quiet over me, like a hand across the window, like a hush across the street.
One wet afternoon, at the table by the glass, watching coats and blurred umbrellas, and the trolley buses pass. The waitress wipes the counter, the radio plays low, and there's nowhere I should hurry, so I let the whole thing slow. Steam rises from the cup and bends against the pane. Someone laughs near the doorway and then disappears in rain. Every object in the cafe looks a little more alive when the weather on the window turns the room to silver light. No big change, no grand scene, tired room softly ring. One wet afternoon with the city fading blue, and the weather writing little lines that always lay to you. I used to think that beauty had to arrive all at once, in a skyline split by sunlight or a wide and open month. But it comes in smaller measures, in the steam above the tea, in the rain against the window, in the quiet way you breathe. There are books along the shelf there are lights above the bar, and the whole room seems to loosen from the pressure of the dark. Maybe all I ever needed was an hour like this one, where the weather makes the city feel less heavy, more undone. Every drop on the glass makes the evening seem to last. One wet afternoon at the table by the street, with the taxis painted silver and the rain beneath my feet. One wet afternoon, more than I was asking of, still enough to make me notice how this weather sounds like love. No big turn, no great confession, just the hour becoming kind, and the whole day leaning gently to the softer side of time. If I leave before the evening, I will still be carrying through all the silver and the quiet of this afternoon with you. One wet afternoon can change the shape of everything, make a stranger's laugh feel closer, make a tired room softly ring. One wet afternoon, I will keep it when it goes, in the rain against the window, and the way the whole room glows. Quiet weather at the edge of evening light, not a storm and not a clearing, just a calm between the types. Curtains moving by the window, trees asleep above the lane, and the city holding stillness like a cup that holds the rain. There's a book I'm barely reading, there's a lamp above the sink, and 1,000 little thoughts that suddenly no longer speak. Somehow all the sharpness leaves them, somehow all the noise grows thin, and I feel a little wider than the day I started in. Maybe peace doesn't arrive as a bright and open answer, but a slower kind of light. Quiet weather, stay with me a little while, in the room inside the shadows, in the half-remembered smile. Quiet weather, you don't need to say a thing, still you make the whole world gentler, still you make the silence sing. On the rooftops past the window, a pale silver settles down. Traffic hums but from a distance, like another softer town. I can hear the kettle cooling, I can hear the whole they breathe, and the whole apartment loosens into something more than sleep. I have looked for larger meanings in the things that blaze and break, but the truest kind of comfort is the one that does not
the hush across the floorboards, just the shade along the wall, just the weather turning tender and not asking more at all. Every room has a tone when the day grows quiet enough to be known. Quiet weather on the rooftops, on the glass, on the hours I thought were empty, now becoming full at last. Quiet weather, if you leave before I sleep, I will keep the shape you gave me, like a hush I want to keep. Maybe peace is not a place, maybe peace is how it falls. Soft across the floorboards, soft across the walls, and the heart that kept on racing finds a softer way to be in the dim and silver breathing of this quiet weather scene. Quiet weather, stay with me a little while, in the room inside the shadows, in the half-remembered smile. Quiet weather, you don't need to say a thing, still you make the whole world gentler, still you make the silence sing. Somewhere between bloom and blue, the day forgot what it should do. Not quite bright and not quite gone, just enough to lean upon. Cherry color silver air, clouds like thoughts that disappear, and the city moving slow like it has nowhere else to go. A flower vendor folds the tarp down at the edge of evening light. Streetcars hum beneath the windows, softly entering the night. I don't know if this is sadness, I don't know if this is peace, I just know the whole world softens in the middle of these shades. Not the start, not the end, just the hour
it all. If I lose the brighter seasons, I will still remember you in the quietest spring evening between bloom and bloom. Between bloom and blue, I keep finding pieces of you in the hush beside the station, in the wet and shining view. Between bloom and blue, there's a place the heart can't stay. Not in sorrow, not in summer, just between the shades of day. Window light in spring falls across the books and floor, makes the room feel open wider than it ever did before. Outside branches move like writing on a page I cannot read. Still I sit and hear the weather say exactly what I need. Steam is rising from the kettle, traffic fades beyond the pane, and the air is full of silver from an almost fallen rain. There are coats beside the doorway, there are shoes beside the wall, and the quiet in this room now feels enough to hold it all. No bright sky, no sudden change, just the softest kind of morning, making everything feel strange. Window light in spring on my hands and on the wall, making every ordinary thing feel tender, feel small. Window light in spring, you don't stay but you remain in the dust and the silence, in the shape of the day. There's a mug beside the notebook, there's a scarf across the chair, and the world beyond the curtain feels both distant and right there. I don't need the sky to open, I don't need the room to sing. There is enough inside this moment in the window light of spring. I have searched for larger meanings in the seasons overhead, but the truest kind of comfort finds me in these hours instead, where the floorboards hold the brightness and the city hums below, and the heart can simply listen without needing more to know. In the blur of the moving day, there is peace in staying still, there is grace in letting stay. Window light in spring, like a pause I wanna keep, like a thought that comes in gently and arrives before I sleep. Window light in spring, you make even stillness warm, and I think that may be enough now to carry through the storm. Some hours never ask for meaning, they just settle in and glow, and the heart can rest inside them more than it will ever know. If I lose the day by evening, I will keep this little thing, how the room became a harbor in the window light of spring. Window light in spring, on the books and on the floor, making every quiet corner feel more open than before. Window light in spring, even when the day is gone, I can hold the softer weather and the way it lingers.
Central Street is glowing like it borrowed extra time. People moving softened outlines, undercoats and borrowed skies. And the city keeps on breathing through reflections and headlights. Bookshop windows hold the evening like a secret half revealed. Every color turns more tender when the brightness learns to yield. I can hear the buses sighing at the corner near the square, and the weather writes its quiet on the cool and shining air. Nothing breaks, nothing falls apart. Still the whole world opens somewhere in the dark. Rain light on the curb and on the cars, on the glass above the coffee shop and all the quiet hearts. Rain light makes the ordinary shine, turns the smallest kind of moment into something I can find. I was looking through the window at the shape the evening made, how the world could turn so gentle just because the colors changed. No one said a thing about it, still the room was full somehow, like the weather knew a language I am only learning now. Maybe beauty lives in passing, in the hour before the night, in the silver left on rooftops, in the softened amber light. Maybe all the things I've missed only needed less from me, just a slower kind of seeing, just a little room to breathe. In the blur of the moving lanes, I can feel the city calling me by name. Rain light on the books and on the floor, on the sleeves of people passing by and under every door. Rain light keeps the whole day half undone, and I think I like the feeling of becoming part of one. Not a storm, not a breaking, just a slow and shining blur. And the city looks more honest when the edges all grow soft. You can keep your blazing daytime, you can keep your summer sky. I will stay where silver settles and the quieter lights arrive. Rain light on the rails and in my hands, on the drifting conversations no one fully understands. Rain light turns the air to something kind, and I leave the day still carrying its reflection in my mind. Rain light, if it fades before I sleep, I will keep the softer outline of the world it gave to me. Soft rain, slow city, nothing rushing home. Windows full of strangers, all of them alone. Taxi lights on puddles, bending into gold. Traffic moves like breathing, steady miling old. Paper cups and shuttered stores steam above the train. Everything is moving still inside the little rain. I can hear the evening settling into every lane, and the city sounds more honest when it says so little back. No bright sign, no sudden turn, just a softer kind of hour I can finally learn. Soft rain, slow city, hold me where you are, in the curling at the corner by the shop. Someone shuts the metal shutters with a tired final drop, and the air smells faintly of concrete leaves and tea, like the weather found a language made especially for me. I remember all the evenings that I tried too hard to name, but the ones I keep returning to are silver just the same. Not because they solved me, not because they made me new, just because they let me breathe inside a softer point of view. When the streets turn calm and thin, all the noise I carried starts to loosen in me. Soft rain, slow city, on the rails and on the roofs, making every passing moment feel a little more like truth. Soft rain, slow city, let me walk a little late, until the lights and weather turn into the same soft shape. No loud heart, no bright sky, just the evening settling in, and the world grows more forgiving as the edges all grow dim. If tomorrow comes too quickly, I will still remember this, how the city made a shelter out of silver and soft mist. Soft rain, slow city, hold me where you are, in the half-lit intersections under blurred and distant stars. Soft rain, slow city, I will keep you when I go, in the way my thoughts grew quieter, in the way the streets move slow.
Bloom under gray, that's how the morning starts. Clouds above the apartment roofs, and color underneath the dark. Tiny leaves beside the railing, flowers near the subway stairs. Everything that wants to open, learning how to do it there. People passing navy jackets beneath a sky that will not clear. Still the branches keep on reaching, still the season gathers here. Nothing in the day is certain, nothing in it fully bright, but the world beneath the silver still prepares itself for light. You don't need a perfect sky to become the thing you hold inside. Color into light. Bloom under gray, there is courage in your pace, in the quiet way you answer all the weather with your grace. I have waited for conditions, I have asked the world to clear, but the best things I have known still arrived while clouds were here. Maybe hope is not a sunrise, maybe hope is staying true, like a blossom on the roadside, making silver feel like blue. There's a patience in the growing that the city seems to know, how the roots stay hidden longest before the leaves begin to show. And I think the heart is like it, learning how to rise and stay, even undertones of weather that don't promise brighter days. Every because the day is easy, not because the way is known, but because the heart keeps opening, even in a colder tone. And the things that last the longest often start where no one sees, under cloud and under stillness, under quiet city streets. Bloom under gray. You don't need a brighter sky to become the thing you're meant to lift your color into life. Bloom under gray. I will keep your lesson near, how the softest form of courage can begin right here.
There's a flower by the crosswalk growing through a little crack, like the city left a secret and forgot to take it back. People pass without noticing, still it opens all the same. And I think of all the small things that survive without a name. Near the bus stop and the corner store, by the railings in the sun, there it keeps its quiet color till the afternoon is done. Nothing grand is in its blooming, nothing staged or placed just right. Still it turns the whole block gentler, still it warms the passing light. No applause, no one sees, still it opens to the breeze. Sidewalk bloom in the middle of the day, by the buses and the street signs, by the places worn away. Sidewalk bloom, you don't need a garden wall, still you make the whole block gentler, still you make the city small. I have seen the grander colors, I have chased the louder skies, but I keep returning to you and the way your quiet tries. Not to dazzle, not to conquer, just to lean into the light, like a heart that learned to open even after harder nights. Maybe grace is just persistence, maybe beauty is this too. Something green against the concrete, finding one more way to move. And I wonder if the city is more tender than it seems, if it hides its softest stories in the cracks between the streets every day. Passing by, still you rise without asking why. Sidewalk bloom by the coffee shop at 4, with the spring wind moving slowly past the half-closed bookstore door. Sidewalk bloom, every ordinary thing feels a little more forgiving with your color in between. Maybe all the things that save us are the ones we almost miss. A small flower at the crossing, a brief and accidental grace, and the heart that thought it needed something larger to believe learns to trust a little color growing quietly in the street. Sidewalk bloom in the middle of the day, by the buses and the street signs, by the places worn away. Sidewalk bloom, I will carry what you mean, how a small and steady beauty can make the whole world green.
After the rain, everything looks newly made. Bus stop glass and silver railings, holding on to what it gave. Tiny rivers by the sidewalk catch the pale and broken sun, and the city feels like somehow it has quietly begun. Leaves are greener by the corner, brick is warmer by the lane. People step outside more slowly, as if listening for the change. Even all the passing headlights seem less hurried than before, like the day has learned to open, like the sky has closed one door. There's a light in the washed out air, not too bright, but enough to get me there. After the rain, there's a light on everything, on the roofs and on the taxis, on the smallest breathing things. After the rain, I can hear the whole day clear, like the noise has been forgiven, like the distance has drawn near. You can smell the trees more sharply, you can hear the traffic thin, and the air that once felt crowded now has room to let me in. Maybe change is not a thunder, maybe it's a washed out street, where the world comes back more gently at a slower, kinder speed. I remember all the evenings when I waited for a sign, not a storm to split the skyline, just a reason to be fine. Now the puddles on the pavement hold enough for me to see how the smallest kind of clearing can return the day to me. When the clouds leave their silver trace, even quiet roads can become a place. After the rain, there's a tenderness that stays on the corners of the windows, in the softness of the day. After the rain, I don't know what all it means, but I know the world looks honest in the shine of quiet things. I don't need a perfect answer, I don't need to chase the blue. When the light returns as softly, it already feels like truth. And the city in its clearness doesn't ask me to explain, it just opens up before me. After the rain, there's a light on everything, on the roofs and on the taxis, on the smallest breathing things. After the rain, I will carry what I've seen, how a softened day can brighten without ever turning me